Hi everyone. Today video episode is on Ionic Vue application creating a state management using Vuex. So in this video we are going to create a sample application using the Vuex state management. Okay. So before going any further, I want to mention that this entire session has been made as blog. Okay. This is the blog. Everything has been explained in this blog step by step. If you like to walk through the blog, the link will be available under the video in the description. You can check over there. Okay, so let's jump into creating our sample Ionic application. So go to the Ionic framework documentation. In that, go to view section, and in that select for quick start guide. If you scroll down, you will find one comment like, if your system don't have the latest Ionic version, please run this command into your system. I have already did this, so I am not doing it again. Next you find another command to create a uh, sample application that is in the view. So let's create the application. Okay, and copy this command and paste it over here. So the command explains is like Ionic is the Ionic command. Start is to create the application, and here my app is nothing but your application name. So I'm going to change the application name like Ion View State. Okay, and blank represents the kind of template we are expecting. By default, Ionic provides a different kind of templates like tabs and menus with the inbuilt sample application with them. Here I am selecting blank application. The type is to specify whether Angular, React or Vue. So here we need to specify hyphen type space Vue. So that's going to create our Ion and Vue application. And CLA asks for us to create a free account of Ionic community. I'm saying no for my demo. And finally, our Ion and Vue application has been created. Let me open it in my IDE. The IDE I am using is Visual Studio Code. So this is our Ionic and Vue application. Okay. By default, Ionic comes with support of TypeScript, but as a Vue developers are most preferred to use like a JavaScript syntax. So to make our TypeScript Ion Vue application into JavaScript syntax, we need to follow few steps. So let's make it as a JavaScript compatible. For that, I'm going to my blog where I have given few instructions. You can find the same instructions from official blog as well, official docs. So first step is to remove TypeScript dependencies. So please copy this command and go to our editor. Paste our command here to uninstall the TypeScript dependencies. Okay, we have successfully uninstalled TypeScript dependencies. Next, we need to change our .ts files to JS files. We have mostly two files like that. One is main.ts file and another is index file in the router folder. So let me change them to JS. Rename the extension to JS, and another file is in router folder. Okay. And next is we need to remove couple of commands from the ESLint rc.js file. So let's go over there. ESLint Here from the extends array object, remove this view TypeScript recommended line, and from the rules, remove this TypeScript TSLint, no explicitly hyphen any. Okay, so that's it. And next command is now remove the route record raw type from the index.js. So from here, I am going to remove this TypeScript type and also the import. Okay, and next is delete the shims-view.d.ts file. So remove this file. Okay, and next step is there is a lang attribute on the script tags. So remove in app file app.view. Remove this attribute lang attribute, and another is in views folder home.view. I'm going to remove this entire folder. Okay, so those are the steps to make our application compatible with JavaScript syntax. Okay, next I'm going to create our application pages. So that let me create a folder, name it as pages. For this demo, I have choose to display the data of the users. For that, I am going to use the state management for the all CRUD operations like create, read, update, and delete. So I'm going to create a view page component like users.view. Let's write some basic syntax. Okay, this is like my users page. Now I'm going to configure route for this, and here we have deleted home, right? So remove those references. Here I'm going to use like users, okay, and I need to import my new component. Okay, let's import our component. Next step, next step we want to do is just create a master layout for our application. Master layout contains like a header with some styling title so that those styles will be applied to all our application pages. So let's create a template like, so it should be created in the folder like components. Okay, components, and inside of it I am going to create master layout dot. Okay, here to save some time I am skipping the step by step of creating the layout. So if you want, you can find the step-by-step instructions for creating the master layout in the blog. Here simply I am uh, pasting the code which I have already created. So after copy pasting my already created code for the master template looks like this. So for a master template in Ionic page, always the root tag must be Ion page. Ion page will contain header and content. Okay. In the inside of content, we use slot area. This slot area where our application pages content will be displayed based on the route of the page. Okay. Here we are dynamically making our page title as the input parameter, which will comes from our pages. Okay, and also imported the required Ion Vue components and registered those components into the component property, and we added some basic styling to our Ion toolbar. Okay, and finally, after creating the master layout, we need to register it globally in main.js. For that, we just imported master layout and added that into the Vue instance components. Okay, that's all about the master layout. Now, in our user space, we are going to integrate our master layout. So every content will go inside of this page, and we have already imported registered globally, right? So we no need this page level registration for master template. Okay, and I am as I passing the page title input parameter value like for use. Okay, let's run our application and have a first look at our application. Command is like Ionic serve. So this is how our application will be looks in mobiles as well. Okay. Now my goal is to display the users and add the users, update the users, and delete the users. For that, I am going to using a free API called JSON placeholders users. The link will be available in my blog. If you want, you can copy it. Okay. I am going to take these results and I am going to reflect them in my application. And these free API only supports get. So for remaining all like update, delete, save, what we will do, we will implement some dummy logic to updating into our Vuex store management. Okay. So and so before that, we need to install Vuex store into our application. For that, let's search like Vuex. Okay. And for Vue 3, we need to click over here for Vuex documentation. So please click here. Okay. So go to installations. Here you can find command npm command like npm install Vuex next -- save. Copy that. Okay. Our Vuex has successfully added. So let's cross check it by going to package.json. Here you can find our Vuex. Okay. So far so good. Next we need to create some basic structure for our of a Vuex store to our application. For that, what I will do, first thing I will create a folder like store. Okay, this folder contains all files that are related to store. Inside of I will have a subfolder like module. This represents a specific store or state for each module, and inside of it I will create a file like users.js. So this file will contains uh, all my state management logic for my users data. Okay, so let's have some basic structure. So our basic skeleton for a view store will be like this, where state is where our data will be stored, okay, and getters to fetch the data from the state. Actions, these are asynchronous. This will do asynchronous jobs like calling uh, data from the REST APIs like that. And mutations. Mutations are the only way to change the uh, data, to update the data in the state. Okay. So here we are all exporting those all state. Here namespace means this will helps to um, this will helps to avoid some conflicts between the namings of the methods inside of the getters actions or the mutation. So namespace will help to avoid those conflicts between the names. And before that, I will show some basic preview of the how action how this view state management will work. Okay, so if you think this view component here, sorry, view component, what it will do, it will trigger actions. See, actions. So what we have discussed, actions are asynchronous jobs. So they will call REST API. So REST API will be called inside of the actions. Once the response is issued by the actions, then actions what we will do, they need to store the response into the state. So actions cannot directly store the response into the state. So what they will do, they will invoke the mutations. Inside of the mutations, we will handle the logic to store the data into our state. So mutations are going to save our data into the state. So the data that was stored into the state, to fetch into our components, we need to use the getters. Getters have the logic to fetch the data appropriate from the state. So getters will helps to fetch the data from the our state to into our view component. This is the life cycle or the flow of the Vuex store state management. Okay, let's get back to our application. So next step, what we have to do, we should have a root store managing file. I will name it as index.js constant store. So this create object is like create store object is like a configuration file where we are going to register all our module store files. So here inside of the module, we will create a property like users. Okay. To this users, we are going to assign our users module. For that, I need to import, okay, assign that users module, okay, and let's export our store, right? Here we are created a property like users and its value is we assign to user module, right? And if you remember in our users state, we have specified namespace should be true. So our goal is to use this property name as a namespace, right? Okay, once we have set namespace to equal to true, then the module's registered property will be act as a namespace. Now let's register our store into our application by registered in main.js file and now import. Okay, now we have successfully completed the integration of our store into our Ion Vue application. So next step, if we go to our store users module, In the actions, I want to call our API like users API. Okay, so let me create a actions logic that is going to consume the API. So I'm going to create fetch users. So these action methods are mostly async only. So let's make them async. So in Vue application, to consume the external APIs, we need another library called Axios. So let's install the Axios. So let's search for Axios. Okay. Go for npm package Axios. I'm copying this command. Okay, after installing Axios, let's write our logic to consume our API. So first is we need to import the Axios in top. Okay. Now let's invoke our API. We need to pass here our endpoint. So, okay. Now this fetch users will capture the response from the API in the response variable. Now actions are not capable to store the data into our state. So to save or update the data into the state, that functionality should be carried out by the mutation. So we need to create a logic in the mutations. Save all users. Okay. Here, first variable in the mutation function is state. This parameter will be automatically passed over by the Vuex implicitly. So we no need to worry about it. So next variable should be payload. Payload nothing but our data to be stored into state. Okay, here what I will do, I will simply use like state. So state till now don't have any object to store the data, right? So let's create a property like users, and its value should be empty array. Now in our mutations, what we will do using state dot users, I will access property and I simply assign the payload to it. Okay. Now this function is updating the data into my state. So this mutation function need to be invoked from the action. To invoke mutations, we need a command like commit. Commit will be comes as the input parameter of the actions method by default provided by the Vuex only. Okay, commit. Now I will use that commit command and I will invoke mutations. Response data my payload. In the commit command, first command input parameter should be mutations function name. So copy this function name, paste it over here. So that's it. Whenever we invoke our fetch action, it will invoke our REST API. Once the response is captured, then it will invoke save all users mutation. Inside of save all users mutation, it is updating our state. To fetch all the data that was saved into the state. So to fetch the data into our Vue components, we need to have a getters. So in getters, let's create a function like all users. Okay. Here also first parameter will be state, that will be handled by the Vuex. So what I will do here, just simply state dot users. I'm returning all the users. Whichever component uses this getter will fetches all the data from the component. So that is the basic logic of our state to getting the data from the REST API and saving the data into the store. And finally, for to communicate the components with the state, we also created a getter. So now in our users.view page component, we need to display all our users inside of it. So first thing we have to do is what I will do, I will add a button so that on clicking that button, we will write a logic to invoke the action that we have created in our user store module. Let me remove this heading. We will have title, right? So let's get rid of this. I haven't copied, copy it. Show users and let me create a click callback event. Okay, let's create methods. Inside of methods, right? Show users. This will be our button callback method. Inside of this method, what I have to do, I need to trigger our store action method. For that, I need to import map actions. So to import the map actions, okay. Using these map actions, I need to register my store action. For that, let's go to methods like triple dots and map action. Okay. Here I need to register my action. For that, what I will do, I will go to my user module. My action name is fetch users, right? And copy that. I will come back to my page and let's register it here. I'm going to assign same name. Here fetch users is assigned to fetch users property. Okay. So I have registered here. I have mentioned I am enabled namespacing for my store, right? So let's go to our store index file, copy this users property name and come to my Vuex page. As the first parameter, we need to specify the namespace. So we have registered our action method. Now I need to invoke this method simply by calling this dot fetch users. I am calling this property here. So what it will do, it going to trigger my action method. Once action method is triggered, once it got the response, it will store the data into our what I can say state. So to fetch the data into our component, I need to use the getters. For that, I need to register my map getters. Okay. So map getters are data fetching variables, right? So the best area to register this map getters is inside of the computed properties, so that the latest value will be observed inside of the computed properties. So let's create like computed. Okay. Inside of it, let's register our map getters. This registration is similar to like actions only. Okay. And go to my store, user module store, and my getter name is all users, right? I'm use save property for registration as well. Okay. So now I can read all the data from the store using the all users property. Now the pending to do is I need to display the data into my UI. For that, what I will do, I am going to use ion codes. Ion codes. Okay. Content. Inside of it, we will have ion code title. Okay. And for some additional data, I can use ion item inside of the ion code. So what I will do, I will loop my all users around this ion code. For that, v for equal to user in all users bind like user.id. Cross check properties over here id. I am just bind simple properties like name and email. Okay, for the demo purpose. So inside of title, I'm going to give user.name. Inside of ion item, so here I will give side heading like email, and here I will bind the email. Okay, now I need to import all these Ion Vue components, import them from @Ion Vue. Okay, what I have imported, I have imported Ion button. Okay, I have used Ion card, Ion card content, Ion card title, Ion item, Ion label. Okay, and let me register them as our view inside of our view as components. Okay. Save them and let's check our application. Okay, here imported some unknown module into our index store. So let's remove it. And see here, we have finally got our output. It is showing now show users button. Okay. Here I am found another issue like let fix that as well. Go to our views.js reviews. Here I haven't defined username namespace. Okay, let's refresh it again and no more console issues. So that's good. Let's click on the show users. See, now I am able to show the all the list of my users that I am getting from the API. You can check that API from the network call. So all this data where I am getting simply from the store using the map getter. So in the store where how it is stored from triggering the action method like fetch users. Inside of fetch users, we have mutations invoked. Those mutations will update the state of our store. So some basic step is done here. So next, what I want to do is I want to create another page for that page will be used for both adding and updating the data based on the route value. Means in the URL we will pass our record ID, something like 1 or 2 or 3. It's a record ID. If it is greater than 0, we can consider it as update page. If it is equal to 0, you can consider it as create page. For that, what I will do, I will create a page like inside of the pages. Let's create a new page like add or update user dot view template or master template, right? Master layout. So let's configure master layout first. Local configuration of master layout, no need. We have registered it globally. Okay. Now first step is I need to configure route for it. Okay. I have created component adder update user. So let's me configure route for it. So go to router. Here let's import our new component. Okay. Here inside of my route, I will have some dynamic content like add or update. Okay. Colon ID. This colon ID represents this ID value will be passed dynamically. Okay. Unregistered component here. Okay. That's it. Let's go to our page. Now, first thing is we need to read our route value. For that, what I will do, I will create okay, data properties. Inside of I will create like route ID. To access that, we can do like this dot dollar hyphen route dot ID. Okay, this ID name is match with our route value. Okay, this like this here ID, right? ID. If we declare here user ID, then we must name it as router dot user ID. Okay, so name should be our variable declared in our URL. Okay. Now I got this route. Now I will use component mounted functionality. Okay, inside of it, what I will do, if this dot route ID equal to 0, that's represent user action is for creating the new user. Okay, else my logic is to define the update. Okay, so what I will do, first thing is I want to pass my page name. So for that, page title. Okay, I will create same property here in the data properties. Initially it is empty. Here what I will do, I will give value here like add new user. This is my title. If it is for add, for update user. Okay, I will pass that property here. Okay, here I will going to create some small form to use. Okay, ion item. Ion item. Okay, I will use this floating type input. I will use first label as username and second one for email. Okay, I will add button similar to that big button in my users page. So copy the same button. Okay, here what I will do, my button name will be dynamic. Okay, and let's remove this method. We will have another callback method. Okay, now what I need to do, I need to do model binding to read the data from our input fields. For that, what I will do, I will create one another property like user info. User info. Initially it is null. Okay. What I will do in add logic, user info equal to ID, where it will be 0, and name. So make sure to match these properties with our API payload properties. Okay, name empty and email empty. Okay. Now we will bind them to our input fields. View-model user info dot name and v-model user info dot email. We if condition here like user info. Now first we will target for creating a new item. So for creating a new item, now let's jump into our store. What is our store? User.js module. So here we will have an action method that should be triggered to save our data into our backend. Since I have already mentioned initially, we don't have a API for posting or say updating or deleting the record. So what we will do here, we just update our state like we are faking like it has already saved to backend and we are updating to our state. I will use async and what I will do, save user. Okay. First parameter will be commit. Second parameter will be payload from the components. See here, write Axios call to save the data. In real-time application, if you will have endpoint. So please do that. Here I don't have endpoint, so I'm skipping that logic. I'm using commit and I need to pass my payload to mutations to update into the logic. So in mutations, I will create new method like save users. You can create different names only if you want. It is not mandatory to names should match in actions and mutations. Okay. First parameter will be state that will be handled by Vuex. Second parameter will be our payload. Okay. Here what I will do, I will update state.users.unshift. I will add this record to the top of the array of the users. That's it. We are successfully updating our new record into our state from our Vuex state. So this is the logic inside of our store. Now go to our page. Now I need to create a method like save or update. So methods property. Inside of methods property, I will create save or update users. Okay. This is my callback method for my button. Just register over here. Okay. Now here I am going to write a logic for create. I will use this dot route ID equal to 0. I need to invoke the action method that we have created in our store. So for that we know we have to do like we need to import the map actions. Now register our map actions into methods property dot map actions users namespace users and I need to register my action method. So let's go to my store module, user module. My action name is save users. So go to my page. You can have property name different and the action name different, but here I am using same. Now inside of it, what I will do? I will do this dot save user. Okay. After saving, I need to go back to the my users list page view. For that, this dot dollar dot router. See here we are using router. For getting ID, we used route. Scroll up, route. So don't be confused or don't do mistake here. Route dot push. Okay. Users. And we need to import all our Ionic Vue components. Import done. Okay. Let's copy them and register as a our Vue components. So here components. Okay. That's it for creating a new user. So let's go to our sample app. So here we should have a add button. So what I will do, I will create a circular add button at the bottom of the page that will be stick to the bottom of the page. If we scroll also for that, we have to use Ionic fab icons. Ionic fab icons. These are like floating icons. So like this you will get, okay. For that, we need to go to our users view. Here what I will do, I will create template. Okay, icon, shift alt F, and remove this slot. Okay, and here vertical showing vertically bottom, and it should be End means on our right hand side bottom it will be shown. Okay, and it should have icon as well. So let me remove this and I will name icon equal to add. So let's import icons first. Import from ion icons slash icons. Okay, here I will add and it should be written from the data property. So let's go over here, data and return, and I will return that property. Okay, and that should be binded to our icon. Okay, and I have to name a slot here like a v-slot. Okay, and in my master layout I should be inject this ion fab item into my ion footer. Ion footer. Okay, here I am going to inject that fab icon HTML slot, and I will name this slot as footer data. Okay, and one more thing I have to do, I need to import the ion footer component. In components as well we need to register. Okay, now let's go to our Vue users page. Here just copy this slot name footers data and go to our users page, assign to that slot. Okay, and we need to import like ion fab item, ionic ion icon components, ion fab button. Okay, ion icon. Okay, let's import them here as well. Ion fab button, ion icon. Okay, so this ion icon, what we have to do, we need ion button. I think I can write router link slash add or update. For create it will always 0, right? So in string I can pass it. Let's check now in our sample. See, now we got button, right? Okay, so to test let's first get the data. And now let me click on this add button. Here I have did a mistake like not route.id, params.id, sorry. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, just refresh my page, click on show users. Now click on add button in the route. And define triple equal to here. Okay, now let's test our application. Once refresh the page and click on show users. Okay, now click on add button. Okay, now I got a form for adding. See here, header is like add username, button is like add. Let me enter some data like my data. Okay, let's click on add button. It is not saving. Why? Let's check. Any issue? Forget to mention our mutation name inside of it. Okay, let's save it. And now check again. Click on show, add button. No, we're still not getting data. Here we need to write some logic like payload equal to, I need to increment the ID value, ID equal to what I will do, date dot users dot length plus 1. I am incrementing by the total count. Payload dot ID, and I think I have defined in my add also here ID with 0. So let's try now. Click add button. Some issue. Okay, I haven't passing my payload. That is the mistake. So here I need to pass this dot user information. So I'm not passing the data to my store. So here we are preparing our data, right? I'm passing now. Should work now. So let's refresh it again. Show users. Click on the add button. Naveen. Naveen at the rate mail.com. See, now I got my record. If you want, you can add another record as well. That will show. Here we haven't handling any PT. Okay. Once the our page is loaded, some default functions like mounted won't render. So to refresh always the data, we need to use Ion lifecycle like Ion Vue there. Okay. What I will do, I will cut all my logic. Will get all my logic here. So this method will execute on every navigation. See, these mounted methods, all these are not execute in Ion Vue application because to retain some performance. Okay, so to always get invoked when the page is entered into our when the user enter into our page. If you want to write some logic regarding to page entered like that, best way is to use the Ion Vue did edit enter. So let's try to check our application. So let's reload and let me add user email. I'm successfully added. If I click on add button, it should not show the old data. See, now my old data is cleared off. That is because mounted method is not executing before. Before, if you see, first I saved Naveen, right? Next I saved Bumidi, but it is updated both my records because it is maintaining some state to retain the performance. Once the page is rendered, some Ion life cycles are not invoked. Okay, nothing but it won't destroy think like this. If I am in page 1, I went to page 2. Ion will create page 2. Okay. From Ion page 2, I get back to page 1. Here, Ionic framework, what it will do, it when we transferred from page 1 to page 2, it won't destroy the page 1 because to retain some performance issue, it will keep that page alive. So from the history, it will display back the page 1 when the user get back to the page 1. So here component is not re-rendering, but page is displaying. So life cycles will not be worked here. Okay. If now we go from page 1 to page 2 again, this page 2 we have already visited. It will be retained in the Ionic frame memory. So it won't execute the lifecycle method. So my mounted method won't work here. So all the logic inside of the Ionic mounted method, I am shifted back to Ion view did enter. This method always executes when the page is displayed to the user. So that's it. And we are successfully able to add anything here. Okay. Now, next thing I want to do is update. So for the update, what we need to require on clicking update, we need to populate the data into our form. For that, we need to write a getter in our user module store, right? Like I will write user by ID. Okay, first parameter will be state. So here for passing getters, we need to write some different way logic like return. Here we need to return function as a result to the component because directly we cannot pass what I can say input parameters. So to pass input parameters inside of the return, we need to write a return a function. So here, so that from the components we can pass input parameters to the getters. So here ID and logic is like just filter them by the ID. This dot stated here inside of it we will return state dot users dot find. Okay, 2 dot id equal to id. That's it, nothing more. What we are doing, we are returning a function as a result so that we can pass input parameters to the getters. So go to my add or update here. What I will do, I need to fetch the result, right? So best place to write the register the getters is computed properties. And now register our map getter here on top. Okay. And dot map getters namespace and object to register my store props user by id. Okay, I will use same name as a property as well. So now I have registered my getter. Now in my Ion Vue enter, what I will do, if it is not, if at the time of edit here this dot user info equal to this dot by id user by id method, and here we need to pass the getter. Now the getter will assign to data my user info so that that data will be displayed on the where my form. Okay. Now we need to add a edit button to our cards in the users.view. So for that, what I will do, I am going to add one more ion item. Okay. Here I am going to use ion icon. So let's register our ion icon. Already registered. Okay, fine. And I need to get the edit icon. For that, ion icons. Okay. Search for edit. I'm going to use that filled one. Its name is create. So let's return create and import it from the icons icon ion create. Okay, let's bind that icon value create. Okay, now I am going to register click event method like edit and it's have input parameter like user ID. Okay, now I need to create a new method like edit. It has input property like ID and here I will navigate to my update page. For that, this dot router dot push. Here we need to pass dynamic value like add or update. Okay, slash dollar brackets ID. I haven't done any logic to update the data into my store. Okay, here in the same method we haven't written any logic because we haven't do any store methods to save. So let's create an action method to update my data. For that, what I will create another method like update user commit payload. Okay, since we don't have here write Axios call to update the data. Right now, I am going to use my mutations. For that, let me create a method update user state and payload will be mostly ID only here. Sorry, payload only. Payload correct only. Payload. Here what I will do from the state dot users dot users equal to state dot users dot filter u dot id not equal to payload id because I want to delete the remove the old record from the state with old data. After that, simply I will update insert the updated object top of my array. That's it. So that's it. We need to write our logic to invoke. Oh, sorry. Here we need to invoke my mutation, right? Update user. Okay. And need to pass payload. That's it for updating logic in the store. Now go to my add or update page. Here I need to register my one more action method, like what is my action method? Update user. Yes, update user. Okay, here I will use same name for the property as well. Okay, now here I need to write else condition like this dot update user, this dot user info. Okay, same, almost looks same only, add or update. Think I have done my logical implementation. Let's check in our page. Okay, let's refresh it again. Click on show users. Okay, here we have edit icon. See what I will do. I will edit second record. Elvin Hallowell. It's here. Namespace not found. This dot user body is not a function. Okay, I missed namespace here, I think. Yes, here I missed it. Let's test our app again. Reload the page. Show results. Click on edit button. See, I am editing my data. Okay, let's get back. And I want to edit third record. Coach to Steve. I am changing his name. See, Clementine Steve. The record is successfully updated. So that is the way we what till now what we have did. We have fetched our data from the store. We have saved our data to the store. We have updated our data to the store. So finally, the pending one is deleting the record from the store. So let's do that. Okay, for that, go to users.view page. Here add one more icon. Okay, this is for delete user. Okay, and icon should be trash, and import that trash icon. And here trash, and let's implement our delete user logic. Now from the store I need to remove that ID. For that, what I will do, I am going to my users module. I will write async delete. Okay, commit delete user. Okay, commit payload will be simply ID. Similar way, we don't have any delete API. Write your logic when you have a API. And next I need to write a logic to remove the item from the what I can say here from my state. So what I will do, I will copy. Okay, first parameter will be state taken care by the Vuex. Next will be ID. Okay, I will use this logic itself simply. What it will do, it simply removes the specified item from the state. So instead of payload, it should be ID. And now invoke that from my state action. So commit delete user comma ID. Okay. Now let's copy this name and go to my users view page, and inside of the fetch users, what I will do, I will register my delete users. This method is almost similar to the my normal method in actions. So I will prefix this property like action. Okay. Now what I will do, I just invoke that this dot delete users action, and I will pass the ID. That's it. It should work for remove my data. So let's test. Okay. Show results. See, we got delete icon. Let me remove my second record like Erwin Howell. See, it's removed. See, you can play like anything. It will remove all the records, right? So we have finally implemented a complete sample of Ion Vue application using the Vuex store state management. So final step is I want to do uh, I want to show this entire sample into Android emulator. For that we need to follow some instructions. So go to my blog. Actually, I have explained everything in the introduction session. So here you can find the link for the introduction of the Ion Vue application. There I have given complete guidance steps to run our application in Android emulator. First is you need to check whether capacitor is enabled or not. For that, just run this command. Basically, if you are using Ionic, capacitor will be automatically uh, packaged into our application. So next command I need to do is I need to specify the name and ID to my application. These ID and name should be unique because these should be used for when our application is deployed to any Play Store. So let me run this command like let's cancel npx cap it sample dot sample. I will choose npm. Okay, it is added. So once go to capacitor config, here see our data is registered here. Now next is here it will showing some intelligence like npx cap add android. Sorry, npx cap and android. This command generates us android files. So let me run npx cap add android. If you want this, every step is available in my blog as well. Here it is the expected output because we haven't run our project in production mode. For that, what we have to do here, it is suggesting to run in npm run build. So to generate Android files, at least one time, our application should run in build mode. And our application has been generated in production mode. So let me run the npx cap add android command again. So our Android files are generated successfully. If you want, you can check in our editor, scroll up here, Android folder. See, these are all files are generated. Now next here you can see to run our application, we need to open Android Studio. For that, we need to run command like npx cap open Android. So our application is been up and running, sorry, loaded into our Android Studio. Now what I need to do, I need to select my emulator. I'm selecting Pixel 4 XL because I have created that emulator. How to create emulator also I have explained in the blog. You can see over there. So let's run it. See, my application is loaded into our emulator. Let's click on show button. See, the data is displaying and click on add button. Let me add a new record like okay, add my new record, added, right? Let me edit my third record. Oh well, let me remove the Howell from name. See, now it is Erwin successfully updated. Let me delete the third record from my list. Graham, it is deleted. So you can play like this. So it is cool, right? Our entire has been application has been running in the mobile. So we can look and feel our application. So that's all guys about Vuex state management in the Ion Vue application. I think this video has delivered some useful information. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. See you soon with the new videos guys. Until then, signing off.